Mike Berger has spent almost his entire working life in harness racing. He's trained over 700 winners, including a double on his final night at the mighty Manawatu. He's been at the top end, a Quinella in a New Zealand Cup, but he's also had some big challenges, including a mental near breakdown 20 years ago. Today we get a chance to sit down, talk to him about his life in the sport and the challenges that it presented. Well, I didn't think I was ever going to be able to nail you down to one of these interviews, but there you go. There's a win for me.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad, yeah. I sort of was humming and hawing, but yeah, we'll go with it.
Been a great game, hasn't it, this game for you? And right at the end of your training career, you got past 700 wins, so that's one heck of a milestone, Michael.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, pretty happy with that, but it's not something you shoot for, but I've got to do what I've enjoyed, you know, and what I found early in life I wanted to do, and I've enjoyed doing it, and I've been lucky I've had a family behind me that have supported me, because they get on the back burner, being the game it is, you're working 7 days a week, and I've just been a bit lucky they've been supportive of me.
Your last night you had two winners, Barbarossa and Invisible. You couldn't go out on a better note at a place that you love going to, the Manawatu.
Yeah, I do like the mighty Manawatu. It's a really good club, and always been the same. The committee hardworking, they grateful for you going down there, and they look after you, and they'll go out of their way to help you. And Stephen Dirty's always a big help when you go down there, and Murray Gibbs has put me up a few times. So I've really enjoyed them. I look forward to going. Yeah.
Why harness racing? Why horse racing? Where did that come from?
Well, I don't know really. I never really had a background in it, but it was sort of, I was sort of no Oxford scholar at school, that's for sure, but I started going down to stables down the back of Mangere when I was still at school at Young, and just helping out, mucking out boxes and doing things. And when I was about to leave school, my parents weren't too keen on me going to a stable, so I did have to do an apprenticeship, car upholstery and canvassing, but it only lasted a year, and I decided that that's what I wanted to do, the horses, and so that's where it sort of started off. So who was that with? Was Graham Reeks? He was pretty close to where you live, wasn't he? Yeah, well, I went down there. He was private training for Ron Hanford, and I went down there and used to just help out around at Graham Reeks' place. So was that when you were still at school? I was still at school, yeah. Yep. So your first job in harness racing was Doug Grantham? It was, yeah. I went down to Normanby, just out of Hara, and that was my first full-time job, yeah. He could train? Yeah, he was a pretty good trainer. Jimmy Smale was training for him at that stage, and Doug wasn't there a lot hands-on. He had his fingers in a few pies. They had a really good mare called Marie Gibbons at the time, and she got I think she won 10 or 11 races. She got through to Open Company. Yeah, she was a very good mare. So I was probably there for about 12 months, I suppose, and then I managed to hook on the bloke with thoroughbred yearlings, because they didn't fly then, over to Aussie, and they gave you an air ticket back good. It lasted for 12 months, and I got a job over there with Bill Pickin. He was a pretty good trainer in Sydney, and I enjoyed that. I really loved it over there. And yeah, but you had to come back within that 12 months. Well, I had to use the ticket. I didn't have to come back. And did you think about staying? Yeah, I did, and I probably was going to just use the ticket, come back, and then go back again. But when I came back, I sort of got offered a job with Herbie Moe sub at Kumeu, and I don't know what swayed me, but I ended up staying. But so this is in the sort of 70s we're talking here? Yeah. About mid-70s? Because I know driving-wise, your first win came at Franklin, and that was sort of towards the back end of the 70s. So what was it about the driving? Did you enjoy the thrill, or did you enjoy the challenge? I did like driving, but in those days the system was a bit different, where your junior driver's licence, you sort of lost it at a certain age, and that I can't remember the exact rules, but yeah, after I had a job, I worked after Herbie Moe, so I worked for Mike Stormont for a while, and then I got on a plane. Don Hayes actually jacked it up, went to Canada, and we spent 14 months over there, overstayed a couple of months, I think. But,
got away with it?
Yeah, and then when I came back, I thought that's it, because you've missed most of your junior stuff because I travelled around a bit. I thought I'd get out of it. I just got a job at a Wines and Spirits place in Ellerslie. And Owen Purdon rang me up one night and he said they were looking for someone, was I interested? And I said, oh no, I think I'll get out of it. Well, I think it was about 3 months' time and it just was on my mind and I thought, oh no, I just couldn't get out of it. So I rang him back and said the job's still there, so that's when I went there and worked for Roy, and then Barry went in partnership with Roy one part when I was still there.
Was it about Sole Command? Was because he won the cup in '77? Yeah.
Sole Command, final curtain. Yeah. From Elder, she won the Row Cup, I think, and yeah, that's really.
Must have been a pretty cool time. Yeah.
I was, yeah, and it was just such a great atmosphere working there. Like they're really so good to the staff and that, and they made you feel you were part of the success, and it was probably something that swayed me to think, well, yeah, I want to train one day,
One horse that I didn't realise you started his career off was Lightning Blue.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we only had him 2 starts. I think Owen Purdon drove him for me both times, and he ran, I think he had second to win.
Yeah, he won his first start and ran second at the second start.
Yep. And he's still quite green by Lanaro, out of a pretty ordinary family. He was just a bit of a fluke, but he was sold to clients of Jim O'Sullivan's, and he went on and did a huge job. But nice to keep them. But the money he got for him in those days, I didn't actually own him, but you could have gone and bought a house. So it was sort of. It's the way it is. It's the way it goes. Did
you take a lot of pride in how he went on and what he did? Because in that '87 year, he won the Inter-Dominion final at Addington in a cracking Inter-Dominion series, and then he won the Cup like 5 or 6 months later. So
I think he won a Hunter Cup too.
Yeah, is that something that you sort of went, oh, well, I had a bit to do with that?
Yeah, without a doubt. You take a bit of pride in it, and the good thing is Jimmy O'Sullivan was such a great guy. You got to know him, and many years later, he came back and he bought off us again, which is good. And many years later, I took a little mare over there, and he put us up, and I left it with him. And so you got a good lifetime, sort of friendship and things like that. Yeah.
Where in your life did Brenda arrive?
Well, I just started training down at.
I'm not going to ask you what day you got married or what year it was, because it might just put you in a position
honestly,
you don't want to be.
I am terrible on dates. I don't even remember anyone's birthday.
So we know it was about when you were licensed, which was about 1980, so we're not far away.
Yeah, so Brenda was, sort of got jacked up on a blind date to go to the trotting ball. Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, and she worked at a local place. She was a saddler and did the repairs and that, and I used to get a bit of feed there and go to pick it up, and Brenda would bring a bag of chaff out, and I thought, oh, she's pretty good, this girl.
And the rest is history. A couple of daughters?
Yeah, Melanie and Monique. Really proud of them. They're both qualified teachers. Monique's actually a qualified vet nurse too, but I'm really proud of what they've done, because they miss out. Your whole family miss out on a lot when you're in this game, and I wasn't that interested in trying to get them keen on it, But, yeah, they've done really good. I'm really proud of them. Yeah.
It is a commitment. The horses, you can't just go, well, I won't go out there today, because they need feeding, they need working, all of that sort of stuff. Do you regret any of that, Mike? Is that something that you? Not
really. It's a passion, and I got to do that. Probably the only regret is you look back and you think, well, your family suffer through it a bit. They don't get a normal sort of life. You don't get away on holidays and things like that, but I'm lucky that they've supported me. You
had a couple of training partnerships, and we'll touch on those. One of those partnerships ended up being your greatest result in racing. Simon Pavlovich, towards the end of the 80s, you trained alongside him, and that's where Saida Girl came from, and more about her in a moment. But how did that come about?
Oh, Simon was working for me, and we sort of had a pretty average year, but we had a young team that were building up pretty good, and he was working pretty hard, and I thought, well, if he, I thought we would have a reasonable year, so I said to him, if he wanted to put his name in partnership, it might be a bit of a stepping stone for him too, because I've always appreciated like what the staff do for you. You're nothing without good staff, So, yeah, we went into partnership there, and
for about 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah,
I think
it was pretty short.
35 odd winners, but as I mentioned, Saida Girl was one of those, and she won 6 or 7 races and did a great job. Like, I don't think she was any oil painting or anything like that, no. But tell me a wee bit about her.
Well, my brother rang me up. He said he had a couple of mates and they wanted to buy a unit at the sales, and they still had their clawless ones in those days. And I said, oh yeah, all right. What do you got to spend? And he said $3,000. And I thought, oh, I'm not going to get much for this, So, to be fair, I'd looked at her on the breeding side, and I thought, oh, she looks all right. I'm not even bothered looking at her because I won't get it for that. I was out the back eating a pot of chips, I think, and she went in the ring, and no one's bidding on this, I put my hand up once and got it for $3,000. Went round to have a look at it, and I thought, oh my God, what have I done? It was narrow, it was just nothing looking at it at all, but it is what it is. But yeah, it turned out good, so I can't say I was a great judge, but.
Well, left your best horse, Facta on Verba, who won 27 races, and we'll get into some of his career shortly. Saida Bint, who won 7 races. Puki Manu Express won 6 or 7 races. So she ended up being
pretty good,
a terrific and prolific broodmare for you, didn't she?
Yeah.
While we're on Facta, let's talk about him. He took you to some places, not only here in New Zealand, but across the Tasman as well, that you probably only dreamed of getting to those types of races in your early days. But by God, he was a tough horse, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was super tough. That was his biggest attribute, really. He was just so tough, He was really highly strung horse, He was sort of like all his life, he could just flip the lid at any stage, but yeah, just a magnificent horse. A kind horse at the same time, but yeah, if something gave him a fright or something over, he would just panic. He wouldn't do it because he was dirty, he would just panic, but he was just like almost dangerous when he was young. And I think one part there I was a little bit on my own when I was breaking them in, and I was having a bit of trouble, and Keith Coppins actually gave me a hand to get him finished off, and he actually said to me on my last night, because he's a stipendiary steward now, and he said to me on the last night, he said, oh, you're bringing him up, and he said, I've still got that bottle of wine you gave me. I said, what was that? And I think it was when he won the Easter Cup. I gave him the bottle of wine with the label on it because he'd helped me so much with him when he was young.
Yeah, so right.
Pretty cool that he could go back that far too.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that Easter Cup, because you ended up winning a couple. Gracious Knight got an Easter Cup as well. And Todd Mitchell had been driving this horse pretty much all the way through. Your association with the man they call the Wizard, how did that come about?
I'm not sure how it really came about, but he was a young fella and he was driving pretty good, and I managed to get him on. And he could drive, it was quite good because he could drive the team pretty much on a...
Exclusively, yeah.
Yeah, like he, and had a really good association with Todd over the years, and yeah, it just kept going.
Always had a laugh with him, didn't you?
You could always have a laugh.
He's your sort of sense of humour.
Yeah. No, he's pretty easy going, but horses just run for him, He's a terrific horseman, and he's got a few other tricks up his sleeve. I can give you a little story. When I was at Morrinsville many years ago, I had a young fella thought he was doing a great thing, and he had the tractor and he was going to put something down the bank, and it ended up the tractor. And luckily, it was quite steep. He managed to jump off it, and the tractor ended up submerged in the river down the back. And I thought, well, we've got to get this out. We're going to be in trouble here. So I gave the Wizard a ring and told him what the story was, and he was just getting into a bit of scuba diving.
Yes.
So where it was too steep for him to get down, we got to truck him with a winch and that, and had to go down and get hooked on the tractor. So we got someone else with a rowboat further upstream, rode the Wizard down with his oxygen tank, his scuba gear. It's a pity we didn't have the camera on that. Anyway, we got him down, and he went underneath and hooked the winch on, and He pulled the tractor out.
Man of many talents, eh?
Yeah, he certainly is the wizard.
Yeah, the one and only. I think the race that, and I've read this a couple of times, you reflect on the most with Facta, and most would think it would be his second in the New Zealand Cup, but it was actually the City of Auckland free-for-all where he had to sit parked and showed his real toughness that night.
Yeah, that was probably one of the biggest thrills I've had because it was just such a good run, so gutsy. He just broke the heart, you know. And unfortunately, the horse he sat outside was Gracious Knight, the stablemate, so we couldn't be accused of team driving anyway. So. But yeah, he was just like so good, you know. And it was a funny thing because I panicked a bit the week before that. I got a blood test on him and it didn't come back too hot, you know, like his hemoglobin was quite low, and I never used to do many blood tests, and so I didn't have much to gauge it on. And so I rang the vet when I got the results sent through, and I said, what are we going to do about this? And he said, how's he eating? I said, good. He said, how's he working? I said, good. He said, well, don't worry about it. He said, just press on. He said, some horses are just like that, you know. And so I was not that excited about it, but it was just a huge run here.
Yeah. The partnership with Warren Rich, where you trained over 100 winners together, brought about Gracious Knight, who won the 2002 Easter Cup and then went on and beat Facta in the New Zealand Cup. How did that come back with Warren? And you pretty much had two barns, if I remember right.
Yeah, we did. We had some Asian clients. They'd come over from... There's a guy already here, come over from Hong Kong, and his friends, and they wanted to...
Jacko Shu, is that his name? Jacko.
Yeah, Jacko Shu, yeah. Anyway, they got in, they bought a property, and they wanted to set up, and I wasn't too keen on sort of moving, so Warren came in with me, and he actually run the barn up there for their horses. But it worked out good. We could bounce things off each other and that. And Warren and his partner, Lil, they had Gracious Knight up there, so most of the credit, you know, like goes to them. And they worked really hard. And
now, both those horses by Tuapeka Knight?
They were both by Tuapeka Knight, yeah.
Well, he was a terrific juvenile, wasn't he? But
yeah,
he's never really been renowned for being a stallion, but it worked for those two.
Yeah, well, I think for Tilly wasn't that great, so he didn't have big numbers, but he was a speed horse. And another trainer did say to me after the New Zealand Cup, a couple of weeks later, how do you quinella a New Zealand Cup with two Tuapeka Knights? And I said, well, no one's told them who they buy.
No, exactly.
You know, they're just individuals, but...
Tell me about that day. Tell me about that New Zealand Cup and watching that finish and seeing your two horses, and both of your names, running the quinella in our greatest race.
Yeah, well, I think I probably needed someone to pinch me afterwards, because it was, you know, just something you think about, but it's like the Holy Grail. You know, it's just incredible feeling. But the whole buzz of Cup Day is an incredible feeling, you know, and it was just, you know, like, it was just awesome, really. And I was just so happy for the horses and so happy for the owners. And because Gracious Knight, he was only a cheap horse too. Jacko went off to a dispersal sale and he bought the mare in foal, the Sokies Adam, I think it was, and foal at foot by Tuapeka Knight for, I think it was only about 2.5K or something. And it turned out she wasn't in foal, so he got a free service back to Sokies Adam. And Gracious Knight turned out the one on at foot.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a, you know, when you added it all up, it was sort of a win for the battlers when you see where those two horses came from.
Yeah,
you know,
and Robbie Holmes drove Facta and obviously Todd drove Gracious Knight.
Yeah, well, Gracious Knight, Facta he was the old war dog, and Gracious Knight was the up and comer. And of course, when they started to clash together, Todd said to me, "Oh, do you mind if I get off Facta and stick to Gracious Knight?" I did mention to him that he was like a flea on a dog's back. As soon as a better dog come along, he jumped on. But it was lightheartedly. Yeah.
Mm. You had good success at Addington Raceway. Group 1 success in your own right with Coburg.
Yep.
Pretty good mare.
Yeah, she was a lovely mare.
She won the Prelude as well, the Premier Mares, and then the Breeders. Yeah.
4-year-old mares, and then the Mares Premier one year.
Yeah,
she was a very good, tough mare. Yeah, it was Sandy and Jan Yardley and some of his syndicate people.
Did Fergie used to drive her?
He drove her down there.
For those two races, yeah.
Yeah. But she was a good tough mare, you know, very good tough mare. And I was a bit lucky to get her to train like Sandy, and I'd done a lot of work with Sandy and Jan over the years, and they used to leave the old one with me, and then they left some others with me. But
Hot Shoe Shuffle, was she their breed as well?
She was, yeah. It was.
Because you had two good horses, I remember that year. Hot Shoe Shuffle was one in Black Mairie, and Todd had to choose.
Yeah. Well,
I think he went the wrong way, didn't he?
He went 100 years reminding me and blaming me for it. But yeah, we wanted to get a regular driver on both of them because I thought they both looked like being all right. And early days he said to me, well, which one do you reckon? And put me on the spot. And I said, I think Black Mairie at the moment, but of course some improve and some don't. And then he said, well, I think Hot Shoe Shuffle was going to be the first one to line up, and he'd driven Black Mairie at the trials too. He said, well, just put me on that one, put me on Hot Shoe Shuffle, and then I'll make my mind up, you know. So he drove her, and I think she ran second or third, but he said he'd opt for the other one, but
he's still going on about it.
He still reminded me, you cost me a trip on the drive in the Breeders' Crown and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, of course, it's all your fault.
Yeah, but never mind.
She was a blooming good horse, though. Like, even I'd forgotten. She ran second in the New Zealand Derby behind Jack Cade.
Yeah.
Like,
awesome. I think, did David Butt drive her?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he drove her a little bit. Yeah.
And David Butcher obviously drove her
most of the time.
He
probably had something of Jeff Smalls or something there.
Yeah, right.
The reason why
he
couldn't drive her, but yeah, David did a great job on her.
You've had a good association with the Butcher family. You've actually, you were telling me before, they've all the boys have just about driven a winner. Well, they have driven a winner for you.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's about 6 of them.
6, yeah.
Wouldn't be many trainers who've done that, Michael.
Oh, yeah, no, I wouldn't think so.
Wouldn't think so.
I've had a lot of time for the Butcher family, like their dad and mum, they're a dynasty in their own right in harness racing.
Mike, 20 years ago you weren't in a great space, were you?
No, I was sort of pretty bad, yeah. I sort of had depression. I didn't basically know I had depression. I was just having a lot of physical things going on. I thought I was, pretty crook internally, to be honest. And it went on for quite a while, and it turned out that it was depression. It wasn't until the day I actually went home and just started crying like a baby, and Brenda got me into the doctor, took me straight up there, and that they actually, after having tests for other things, ECGs and things and that they actually diagnosed that I had depression, and I didn't. I think anyone doesn't relate the physical part of it to being depression unless they've been there, but it was something I thought I was actually dying, till it was actually the brain shutting the body down, and basically a burnout, just by burnout and ignoring the signs, which I did because you think you're too tough and, I can fight this off, and I went bang, and it sort of probably put me back quite a few months. So I actually got on some med and different things, and a lot of support from my family. It's the only thing that really dragged me through it. I don't know what else I can say. I could probably talk for all day about it, but it was just anyone that's sort of getting those signs where you're getting a bit shaky, a bit nervy, a bit, not eating, just feeling crook and that, you just need to go and get things sussed out pretty quick, because it's not a nice way to end up. I was probably lucky. People talk about people committing suicide and all the rest, but you don't usually admit that you're thinking about it to anyone, and it's just probably I was lucky that I had family support and the thought of my kids and things like that, but that actually really, that's the only thing that really dragged me through. I didn't want to leave Brenda, the kids alone, and if we probably still had a mortgage at that stage and financial burdens and things, and that's probably the big, that and medication and strong family support helped me through. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that, or they just leave it too late before they reach out.
And at that stage, your training was, you were going great. You'd just come through the New Zealand Cup where you'd crowded it.
Yeah.
V4,
Hot Shoe Shuffle, all these horses, and it just snuck up on you.
Should have been on a high, but yeah, probably the toll. There's a lot of travelling, there's a lot of work. You sort of, like I say, you think you can just keep going.
Bulletproof.
Yeah, and in this game too, even if you crook, you learn you've just got to fight on. No one else is going to do it for you, you know. And yeah, just got to a stage where it just compounded, and the outcome wasn't very good. And I say sometimes, you get head back down that road, but then you put the brake on and you think, well, I don't want to go back there, you know. And sometimes you might appear to be a bit rude or something, but you've just got to think of yourself sometimes instead of. I think a lot of people, I think I was one of them, would never say no. You know, if anyone asked you to do something, you couldn't say no. And it's hard to do sometimes. You just go, look, no, sorry, I'm not feeling that good. I can't do it. But yeah, it's just a whole lot of little things. But there's certainly, I think, a lot more out there now, places where
Well, it's more aware, isn't it? People are more aware of it.
More aware, and you can get a bit more help and that kind of thing. But the important thing is if you're starting to go down that road and you're getting those physical signs, just don't think, unless you've had it, don't think it's just a mental thing. You know, it actually starts off with a lot of physical things, and I think basically the brain's just shutting your body down because and you're telling it to go and get lost because you can handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've had a lot of good owners, haven't you? A lot that have supported you for a long time, you and Brenda.
Yeah, I have. I've been pretty lucky. Like I say, early days, we're really just starting off, didn't have much of breaking in pre-training, and Yarndie Farms, they put a lot of work from me. Even Sandy and Jan, it's like originally breaking in and get them going, and they went on to different trainers, and then they were leaving them with me, but they were putting the butter on the bread for many years. And it was just, I had a lot of respect for Sandy because he just took the game to a new level. I don't think people actually realise, like, you go to the sales and everything looked pretty average, and then Yarndie Farms come along and it just went to another level, and everyone had to catch up to his level to be competitive. And I think people don't actually realise just how much they did for the industry, and a lot of sponsorship too. Yeah.
You couldn't have done it without Brenda.
Not at all. No,
not much good at the bookwork, are you?
Not much good at the bookwork, and not much business sense. Like I said, I was living the dream, doing my passion, but my heart ruled my brain, and her brain rules her heart. So fortunately,
it's a good balance.
Yeah, fortunately for me, if I'd been doing the bookwork, I think I'd probably be living in a cave.
Gee, you've had some good people drive for you. And we mentioned Robert Cameron before, obviously. Phil Butcher drove over 100 winners for you, and Todd drove nearly 100 winners for you. David and Fergie and these sort of guys. It helps, doesn't it?
Oh, without a doubt. You know, like even, you know, a few times, like Colin the Philippine, and there were people that probably not much older than me, but they were brought up in the industry, and for someone outside the industry, and you're looking at the game, they're the kind of people that you kind of idolise, and then one day they're driving for you, and you think, wow, you know, like, they're just such great people, you know, when you get to know them. Like, he's just a champion guy, and they all are, you know. Like, I had a photo on the wall down the stables, I think it was in about 1980 something or early 80s, and Barry Purdon with my colours on, you know, it was a big kick. I give him a reminder every now and then, running a maiden race at Cambridge for me, you know. But just like the people that you sort of looked up and you never thought you'd sort of have them driving on your horses. It was just like such a kick, you know.
Game's been good to you, Mike?
It has been, yeah. It's hard work, you know. Like a lot of it's a bit of a cliche that, like they say, oh, the games are good to you, but without being smart, I kind of think most of the people down the bottom on the ground floor, I'm not saying, you know, like doing the hard yards, they're good. They've been good for the game, you know. They make the game, you know. I think, you know, like hopefully some people kind of realise that, you know, maybe they need to be treated with a little bit more respect sometimes. But, you know, we won't get onto that too much. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it.